Modern farming words: science, tech, and earth care. Introduction. Look at the food on your plate. Think about the clothes you wear. Even the ground where you stand. All of it starts with farming. For a very long time, people called farmers have worked the land. They grew food for us and made things we need. But now, farming is changing. It's changing very quickly. More people live on Earth than ever before. We also know more about how what we do affects our planet. So, farmers are finding new and smart ways to grow our food. It's not just about putting seeds in the ground and waiting for them to grow. It's about science, new tools, and taking good care of the earth. This book will help you learn about this exciting new world. We will look at the words we use today for farming. These are special words and phrases that help us talk about how we grow food now. Think of it like learning a secret code for a field that is always changing. We will see how science helps us understand plants better. We will learn about new tools that make farms work smarter and faster. Most importantly, we will see how all of this is done in ways that keep our planet safe for the future. This book is about modern farming words. What does that mean? It means the English words and phrases we use now to talk about the new and better ways of growing food. This includes words for using science to understand plants. It also includes words for using new tools like computers and machines on farms. We often call these tools agritech. And it includes words for farming in ways that protect the world around us and use things carefully. Learning these words will help you understand how farming is changing to work better and be kinder to the earth. You will learn words that tell us how we use science to make plants strong. You will learn about words for using tools like flying cameras, drones, and sensors to check on our fields. And you will learn words for farming so we do not hurt the earth. As we go through this book, we will explain these new words. We will make each word clear. We will show you how it fits with science, new tools, and caring for the earth. We will look at real examples to help you understand. Our goal is to make learning these new words easy and fun. Then, you can understand what people are saying, reading, and inventing in farming today. Farming is very important in our world. Knowing the modern words for farming is more important than ever. It's not just about food. It's about new ideas, taking care of the earth, and our future together. So, let's start this journey. Let's grow our understanding of modern farming, one word at a time. Turn the page and let's begin learning. 1. Learning farming words. Farming today is always changing. Long ago, people used simple tools to grow food. They watched the weather and knew the land well. This way of farming was close to nature, but it had limits. Now, farming is using science and new tools. This new way of farming has its own words. Learning these words helps us understand how we grow food and how we can do it better for our planet. Think about a girl named Sarah. She grew up in a city and thought farms were just green fields with cows. She started helping at a garden that used new, good ways to grow plants. The garden leader, Maria, talked about soil helpers, water tubes, and good bugs. Sarah didn't understand these words. She wanted to help, but she didn't know how to ask questions or understand what Maria said. There was a gap between what she saw and what she knew. This is why new farming words are important. These are the words we use today for new and better ways to grow food. They include using science to know plants well, using smart machines called agritech, and farming in ways that are kind to the earth and use resources wisely. This last part is called sustainable farming. When we learn these words, we see how farming is becoming better and makes more food with less effort, and how it helps our planet. Why should English speakers learn these new farming words now? Food travels far. We hear about climate change. Many of us don't live on farms. Understanding how food is grown connects us to big ideas. When we hear about carbon storage in farming, it means farms can help fight climate change by keeping carbon in the soil. When we learn about water-saving watering, we know farmers use less water, which is becoming more precious. These words show the link between our food and our planet's health. They help us choose food wisely and support good farming. Learning these words is more than just new definitions. Each word is a new idea, a new way to think, and new actions. Take soil health. It means soil is alive with tiny things that help plants grow strong. Learning this word helps us understand cover planting, where farmers grow plants to help the soil, or less digging, which means disturbing the soil as little as possible. These are ways to care for the earth. Caring for the earth is the main idea behind these new farming words. Words like healing farming or farm nature science mean farming that works with nature. Healing farming makes the environment better, builds up soil, and helps different plants and animals live. Farm nature science looks at the farm as a whole system, seeing how plants, animals, and the environment work together. Learning these words helps us find ways to heal the planet with farming, not harm it. Sarah, the city helper, started asking Maria more questions. "What are water tubes?" she asked. Maria explained, "They send water right to the plant roots with small tubes. This saves water and gives plants what they need." Sarah pictured the tubes near the tomato plants. Then she asked about good bugs. Maria smiled. "They are helpful bugs," she said, "like ladybugs that eat the bad bugs. We want them here so we don't need sprays." As Sarah learned these words, she saw the garden in a new way. She understood why they planted certain things together, why they were careful where they walked, and why they were happy to see a ladybug. She felt less lost. She was not just a helper, she was part of it, understanding how and why this new, kind farming worked. Learning these words was like getting new glasses, helping her see the important work in the garden clearly. Knowing these words helps us. We can understand where our food comes from, not just eat it. We can talk better with farmers and others about our food choices. When we learn about water-growing plants in water, not soil, or fish and water-growing fish farming with water growing, we see how smart farming can be. These words show new ideas that can help feed more people in a good way. Learning these words is a journey, like farming itself. It needs us to be curious and explore, but the rewards are great. By understanding the language of new farming, we learn new words and also appreciate the science that feeds us, the tools that help us grow, and our duty to care for the earth. We become more informed people, more thoughtful shoppers, and more active in creating a future where food and a healthy planet go together. Now that we understand why words are important, we are ready to learn about the science that is changing farming. The next part will show us the science behind modern farming and why it is good for our planet's future. 2. New farming methods. Farming has changed a lot. Long ago, people might plant the same food in the same field over and over. They used strong chemicals to kill bugs and weeds. Sometimes, they used lots of water even when it wasn't needed. This worked, but it wasn't always best for the earth. Now, farmers use amazing new ways to grow food. These new ways are smarter, better for our planet, and often grow more food. This is where modern farming words come in. These are special words we use to talk about these exciting changes. Learning them helps us see how science and new tools help us farm better for us and for the earth. Let's look at some of these new farming ways and the words for them. Smart farming with technology. Imagine a farmer looking at every single plant in a field. That was the only way to know what each plant needed. But now, we have something called smart farming. This is like giving farmers super smart eyes and hands. Smart farming uses technology to help farmers do things very carefully. Think of it like this. Instead of watering your whole garden, you give each plant just the right amount of water it needs. Smart farming does this for whole fields. How does it work? Farmers use tools like GPS, which helps you find your way in a car, to know exactly where they are in the field. They also use sensors that can check how much water is in the soil or how healthy the plants look. Sometimes, they even use drones, which are small flying machines, to take pictures of the fields from above. These pictures can show if some plants are not doing well or if there is a bug problem. With all this information, farmers can make very specific choices. They can use plant food, called fertilizers, only where the plants really need them. They can use water better, giving it only to the parts that are dry. They can also use bug sprays only on the small spots where the bugs are, not all over the field. Why is this good for the earth? Because it means less waste. Less water is used, less plant food washes into rivers, and fewer chemicals are sprayed into the air. It's like being very careful with what you have. The words here include GPS, soil sensors, drones, and exact amounts. These words tell us about the technology that makes this smart farming possible. They help us understand how farmers are being more efficient and caring for the environment. Growing upwards indoors. Have you seen a tall building in a city? What if we could grow food inside those buildings? That's the idea behind growing upwards indoors. It's a way of growing plants inside, in layers stacked one above the other. Think of it like shelves in a store, but instead of products, we're growing lettuce, tomatoes, or herbs. These farms are often in cities, which means the food doesn't have to travel far to reach people. This is good because it saves energy and reduces pollution from trucks. In these indoor farms, everything is carefully controlled. Farmers use special lights, like LED lights, to give plants the exact light they need to grow, even if it's dark outside. They control the temperature, the amount of moisture in the air, and even the air plants need to breathe. Because everything is controlled, plants can grow much faster. And since they are inside, they are safe from bad weather, bugs, and sickness. This means farmers don't need to use as many bug sprays. Growing upwards indoors also uses much less land than regular farms. Imagine growing food on a small city lot that would normally only fit a few houses. This is a big help for the earth, especially where land is hard to find. The words we use here are growing upwards indoors, controlled growing, and LED lights. They help us describe these new ways of growing food in a small space, and with careful control, showing how we can produce food even in places we never thought possible, while being gentle on the land. Helping plants grow stronger with science. Sometimes, plants need a little help to grow strong and healthy. That's where plant science comes in. This is a science that uses living things, like plants, to make useful things. In farming, plant science helps us create plants that are better in many ways. For example, scientists can use plant science to make plants that naturally fight off certain bugs or sicknesses. This means farmers don't need to spray as much harmful bug spray. Other plants can be made to grow better in tough places, like when there's not much rain or the soil isn't very good. This is very important for caring for the earth, as it helps us grow food in more places with fewer resources. Plant science can also be used to make our food healthier. Imagine fruits and vegetables that have more vitamins or minerals. This can help people be healthier. When we talk about changing the basic parts of plants to make them better, we use the term gene changes. Scientists carefully study the basic parts of living things, called genes, and make small changes to help the plant. The goal is often to make the plant stronger, better at fighting off problems, or more healthy for us to eat. It's important to know that many of these changes are done with great care, aiming to make farming better for the future and to help feed everyone. The words here, like plant science, gene changes, and better plants, help us talk about how science is making plants stronger and more useful, helping to provide food for everyone while trying to be good to the environment. Healing the soil. Good soil is the base of all farming. It's where plants get their food and water, and it's home to tiny creatures that help keep everything in balance. For a long time, some farming ways have actually made soil less healthy. But now, more and more people are choosing healing farming. Healing farming is all about farming in ways that actually make the soil better. Instead of just taking from the land, it aims to give back. The idea is to make the soil healthier, more alive, and better able to hold water and important air. This is a big part of caring for the earth. How do farmers do this? One way is called soil covering. This is when farmers plant special crops, like clover, not to eat, but just to cover the soil when the main crop isn't growing. These cover crops protect the soil from wind and rain, add good things to it, and help keep it moist. Another important practice is no-dig farming. This means farmers don't dig or turn over the soil very much. When soil is dug, it can become dry and dusty, and the tiny creatures that live there can be harmed. By not digging, the soil structure stays strong and it becomes richer over time. Crop changing is also a key part of healing farming. This means planting different types of crops in the same field in a planned order over several years. For example, after growing corn, a farmer might plant beans, which help put good things back into the soil. This helps stop bugs and sickness from building up and keeps the soil healthy. These ways might seem simple, but they have a big effect. Healthier soil means plants are stronger, need less water, and are better at dealing with dry weather. It also means the soil can hold more air, which helps with climate change. The words we use here, such as healing farming, soil covering, no-dig farming, and crop changing, describe practices that are very connected to nature, aiming to build a farming system that is good for the earth for a long time. Growing with water and fish. Water is precious. In many places, farmers have trouble getting enough water for their crops. That's why ways like water growing in fish and water growing are so exciting. These are ways to grow plants without soil. In water growing, plants are grown in water that has special nutrients mixed into it. The roots of the plants are either placed right in the water with nutrients or in something like small stones. This way uses much less water than regular farming because the water is often used again. It also means farmers can grow crops in places where the soil is bad or even in deserts. Fish and water growing takes this a step further by mixing water growing with fish farming. In a fish and water growing system, fish live in tanks. Their waste makes nutrients that plants can use. The plants then clean the water, which goes back to the fish. It's a beautiful, natural circle. This is very efficient. You get both fish and vegetables from the same system, and it uses up to 90% less water than regular farming. It also needs very little land. These systems can be set up in small places, like on rooftops or in buildings, making them perfect for cities. The words here, water growing and fish and water growing, describe farming systems that are designed to be very good with water and land. They show us how we can grow food in new places and with less effect on our planet's resources, showing a smart way to produce food for the future when resources are used carefully. By learning these words, smart farming, growing upwards indoors, plant science, healing farming, water growing, and fish and water growing, we begin to see the amazing ways farming is changing. These new ways are not just about growing more food, they are about growing food in ways that are smarter, more efficient, and much kinder to our earth. They are the start of a future where we can feed everyone while protecting the planet we live on. These improvements are made possible by the new tools we will look at next, which are changing farming in big ways. 3. Understanding plant science. Plants are amazing. We see them as quiet, still things. But under the ground, they are like busy factories. They breathe, they eat, they grow, and they make more plants. Learning how they do this is the first big step in modern farming. It's like learning a secret language to help them grow well and give us food. This knowledge is the heart of modern farming vocabulary, the words we use to talk about growing food in smart, kind ways for the earth. Think of a small seed. It holds all the plans to become a big tree or a field of wheat. How does it know what to do? Science helps us understand these plans. It tells us about the tiny parts inside a plant, like cells, and how they work together. It explains how plants use sunlight, water, and air to make energy and the food we eat. This is not magic. It's science. Learning these words helps us farm better. One of the most important things plants do is make their own food. This amazing thing is called photosynthesis. It sounds like a big word, but it's simple. Plants use sunlight, water, and a gas from the air called carbon dioxide. Inside their leaves, they have something green called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll acts like a tiny solar panel. It catches the sun's energy. Then, the plant uses this energy to turn water and carbon dioxide into sugars. These sugars are the plant's food, giving it energy to grow. As a bonus, photosynthesis also puts oxygen into the air, which we need to breathe. So, how does knowing about photosynthesis help us farm? Well, if we know plants need sunlight, we can make sure our crops get enough. We can plant them in fields where the sun shines a lot. We also know they need carbon dioxide. Luckily, there's plenty of that in the air. And water is very important. If a plant doesn't get enough water, photosynthesis slows down and the plant can't grow well. Modern farmers use science to know exactly how much water each crop needs and when. They might use tools that check how wet the soil is or look at weather reports to plan watering. This way, they don't waste water and the plants get just what they need to grow well. This careful work, guided by science, is a key part of modern farming vocabulary, helping us grow more food with less waste. Plants also need to eat from the soil. They take special nutrients, like tiny vitamins, from the ground. These are called minerals. Things like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are very important for plants to be healthy. Nitrogen helps plants grow big, green leaves. Phosphorus helps with roots and flowers. Potassium helps the whole plant stay strong and fight off problems. Plants take in these minerals through their roots, which work like tiny straws. Now, imagine a farmer who doesn't know about these minerals. They might plant crops year after year, and the soil slowly loses these important nutrients. The plants will get weaker, produce less food, and might even get sick. This is where science helps again. Modern farming words include soil testing. Farmers can send soil samples to a lab or use special tools to find out exactly which minerals are missing. Then they can add the right kinds of fertilizers to the soil. Fertilizers are like food for plants, giving them the nutrients they need. But here's where it gets even smarter and kinder to the earth. Some plants, like beans and peas, have a special friendship with tiny things in the soil called bacteria. These bacteria can take nitrogen from the air and change it into a form that plants can use. This is called nitrogen fixation. It's like the plants and bacteria are working together. So, if a farmer plants beans, they are not only growing food, but they are also adding nitrogen back into the soil for future crops. This is a natural way to feed the land, needing fewer artificial fertilizers, which can sometimes hurt the environment if too much is used. Knowing this natural process helps farmers plan their crops to keep the soil healthy for a long time. This is a main idea in sustainable farming, and knowing the words helps us talk about it. Plants also need to breathe like us, but in a different way. This is called respiration. Plants take in oxygen and use it to break down the sugars they made during photosynthesis. This process releases energy that the plant uses for everything it does, like growing new leaves, roots, and fruits. It's like how we eat food and use the energy to run and play. Respiration happens all the time, day and night. Photosynthesis needs sunlight, but respiration does not. Why is knowing about respiration important for farming? Well, if a plant's roots are in soil that is too wet, they can't get enough oxygen. This is like trying to breathe underwater. The roots can't breathe properly, they get stressed, and the whole plant suffers. Modern farming often focuses on good drainage in fields. This means making sure extra water can flow away, so the soil has air for the roots to breathe. This simple understanding of plant breathing helps farmers stop problems before they start, keeping crops healthy and growing well. Now, let's talk about how plants make more plants. This is reproduction. Plants do this in different ways. Some make flowers, which then create seeds. These seeds can fall to the ground and grow into new plants. This is how many fruits and vegetables are grown. Other plants, like potatoes, can grow from pieces of the parent plant. And some plants, like strawberries, send out long stems that grow into new plants. Knowing about plant reproduction is very important for farmers. They need to know the best time to plant seeds, how to care for young plants, and how to collect seeds from the best plants for the next year. This is where breeding comes in. Farmers and scientists have been choosing plants with good qualities for thousands of years. They would pick the plants that were the biggest, tasted the best, or resisted sickness the most, and then use their seeds to grow the next group of plants. This careful choosing is the start of making crops better. This leads us to a very exciting part of modern farming vocabulary: genetics. Genetics is the study of how features are passed from parents to their young. Think of it like a recipe book inside each plant. This recipe book, called DNA, tells the plant how to grow, what color its leaves should be, how tall it should get, and even how much food it can make. Scientists have learned to read this recipe book. They can find the specific recipes for features like being able to fight off a certain sickness, growing well in dry places, or making more healthy food. This knowledge lets them create new kinds of plants through breeding and genetic modification (GM). Breeding is like carefully choosing which plants to mix together to get the best mix of features. It's a slower process but has been done for many years. Genetic modification, on the other hand, is a more exact way to change a plant's DNA. Scientists can take a specific part of the DNA from one plant or even another living thing and put it into a crop plant to give it a new, good feature. For example, they might add a part that makes a plant able to resist a common insect that eats it. This means the farmer doesn't need to use as many chemical sprays to protect the crop. How does this help us answer the question about genetics leading to stronger and more sustainable food production? Well, imagine a tomato plant that can naturally fight off a sickness that often ruins tomato crops. If farmers can grow this plant, they will have a much better harvest, even if the sickness is around. This means less food is wasted, and they might need fewer chemical treatments. In the same way, a type of wheat that can grow with less water is very valuable in dry areas. It lets farmers keep growing wheat without using up precious water. These improvements, made by understanding plant genetics, make our food system stronger and better for the planet. They are key words in modern farming vocabulary that help us talk about these powerful tools. Of course, even the strongest plants can get sick or be attacked by bugs. Knowing about plant health is another very important part of modern farming vocabulary. Plants can get sicknesses caused by tiny living things like fungi, bacteria, and viruses. Pests are often insects that eat parts of the plant. Modern farmers use science to protect their crops. Instead of just spraying chemicals everywhere, they use a plan called Integrated Pest Management (IPM). This is a smart, step-by-step way of doing things. First, they try to stop problems before they start. This might mean choosing plant types that resist sickness, making sure fields are clean, and planting different crops in the same spot each year, not the same thing over and over. If a problem does show up, IPM uses a mix of methods. This could include using natural helpers to control pests like ladybugs that eat aphids, using traps, or putting treatments on only when and where they are needed. Scientists study how pests and sicknesses live to figure out the best time to step in. They also create new, safer ways to protect plants. For example, some new treatments are made from natural things found in plants themselves, which are less harmful to the environment and helpful insects. This focus on understanding the problem and using the least harmful methods is a sign of modern, earth-friendly farming. The world around us plays a big part in how well plants grow. This is where the science of soil, water, and weather becomes very important. Soil science looks at what soil is made of: tiny pieces of rock, old plants, and animals that have broken down water and air. Different soils are different. Some are sandy and let water drain fast, while others are clay-like and hold water tightly. Knowing the type of soil helps farmers choose the right crops and manage water and nutrients well. Water management is very important. Plants need water, but too much or too little can be bad. Modern farming uses ways like drip irrigation, where water is given slowly and directly to the plant's roots. This is much better than spraying water over the whole field, saving a lot of water. Farmers also use weather information and tools that check how wet the soil is to know exactly when and how much to water. Weather is also a big thing. As the Earth's weather changes, with warmer temperatures and more extreme weather like dry spells and floods, farmers need to change how they farm. Plant science helps us understand which crops can handle heat, which can grow with less water, and how to protect them from sudden storms. This is where words like climate-smart agriculture come in. It's about using science and tools to grow food in a way that can handle changing weather and also help reduce how farming affects the weather. For example, some farming ways can help store carbon in the soil, which is good for the environment. Let's go back to the idea of a seed. Imagine a farmer, let's call her Anya, who wants to grow healthy food. She remembers her grandfather talking about how hard it was to grow enough food in dry years. He didn't have the science words or the tools we have now. Anya, however, has learned about photosynthesis. She knows her corn needs lots of sun and water to make those sugary foods for growing. She also knows about minerals and how important nitrogen is for green leaves. Anya uses a tool to check her soil. The test shows she has a little less nitrogen than she needs. Instead of just adding a lot of chemical fertilizer, she remembers learning about nitrogen fixation. She decides to plant a cover crop of clover, a type of plant that helps with nitrogen in her field. When she's not growing her main crop, clover is great because its roots work with bacteria to pull nitrogen from the air and put it into the soil. When she mixes the clover back into the soil before planting corn, it acts like a natural fertilizer, giving her corn crop a good start. This is a smart, earth-friendly way to manage her farm using her knowledge of plant science. She also knows about plant diseases. Last year, a sickness hurt some of her tomato plants. This year, she's chosen a type of tomato plant that is known to fight off that specific sickness thanks to genetics and breeding. She also watches for early signs of trouble using integrated pest management. She might put some ladybugs in her greenhouse to eat any aphids she sees. 4. Tech in farming. Farming today is changing very fast. A big reason for this is new tools and smart ways of doing things. Think of it like this. Farming used to be done mostly by hand or with simple tools. Now, we have amazing machines and smart systems that help farmers grow more food, use fewer resources, and take better care of our planet. This is what we mean when we talk about tech in farming. One of the most exciting ideas in modern farming is farming with great care. This isn't just about farming, it's about farming with extreme care and exactness. Imagine a farmer who knows exactly what each tiny part of their field needs, down to the last drop of water or pinch of fertilizer. Farming with great care makes this possible. Instead of treating a whole field the same way, farmers can give different parts of it exactly what they need, when they need it. This means less waste and healthier plants. How do farmers do this? They use special tools. Sensors are like the eyes and ears of the farm. These are small devices that can measure many things. Some sensors can tell us how much water is in the soil, how healthy the plants are, or even if there are any tiny bugs that could cause problems. Other sensors can measure the temperature, how much sunlight is hitting the plants, or the nutrients in the soil. All this information is collected. Once the sensors gather all this information, farmers need a way to understand it. This is where analyzing information comes in. Think of analyzing information as a detective for farming information. It takes all the numbers and measurements from the sensors and helps the farmer see patterns and understand what they mean. For example, analyzing information might show that one corner of the field always needs more water, or that a certain type of plant grows best with a specific amount of a particular nutrient. This helps farmers make very smart choices about how to care for their crops. This brings us to another important word: making machines do work. Making machines do work means using machines to do tasks that people used to do. In farming, this can mean many things. It could be a machine that automatically plants seeds in perfect rows, or a system that waters the plants without anyone needing to turn on a tap. Making machines do work helps make farming more efficient, meaning farmers can do more with less effort and less time. It also helps ensure that tasks are done very accurately every single time. When we talk about making machines do work and smart machines, we often hear the word robots in farming. Robots are machines that can be programmed to do specific jobs. You might imagine robots that look like they're from a science fiction movie, but many farming robots are designed for very practical tasks. For example, there are robots that can carefully pick ripe fruits and vegetables, or robots that can spray weed killer only on the weeds, not on the crops. This is very clever because it reduces the need for chemicals that can harm the environment. Another big idea in technology is the Internet of Things, which stands for the Internet of Things in agriculture. This might sound complicated, but it's really about connecting everyday farm equipment to the Internet. Imagine a tractor, a water pump, or even a storage bin all being able to talk to each other and to the farmer through the Internet. This connection allows for even smarter farming. For instance, a weather station might send a signal to the watering system to turn on if it predicts no rain, or a storage bin might send a message to the farmer when its contents are getting low. It's like the farm itself is becoming more aware and responsive. All these technologies, sensors, analyzing information, making machines do work, robots, and the Internet of Things work together to help farmers make better decisions. This is where AI, or artificial intelligence, plays a growing role. AI is like giving computers the ability to think and learn. In farming, AI can analyze the information from sensors and make guesses about the future. For example, AI can look at the health of a plant and guess if it might get sick, allowing the farmer to take action before it's too late. It can also help guess how much a crop will produce or the best time to harvest. This is called guessing what might happen, where we use information to guess what might happen in the future. Let's think about how these technologies help us be kinder to the earth. One of the biggest challenges in farming is using resources like water and fertilizer wisely. Traditional farming often meant using the same amount of water or fertilizer for an entire field, even if some parts didn't need it. This could lead to water being wasted or too much fertilizer running off into rivers and lakes, causing harm. Farming with great care directly tackles this problem. It allows for applying different amounts. This means that instead of applying fertilizer or water at one single amount across a whole field, the farmer can apply different amounts to different areas based on what the sensors and analyzing information tell them. If one part of the field has rich soil and plenty of moisture, it might need very little extra fertilizer or water. Another part, which might be drier or have fewer nutrients, could receive more. This targeted approach means we use exactly what the plants need and no more. Similarly, smart watering systems use technology to water crops more efficiently. Instead of watering on a set schedule, smart watering systems use information from soil moisture sensors and weather forecasts to decide exactly when and how much to water. This can save a huge amount of water, which is a precious resource. And what about looking closely at the crops? Drones for watching crops have become incredibly useful. These are small, unmanned aircraft that can fly over fields and take pictures or videos. These images can show farmers things they might not see from the ground. For example, a drone can detect areas where crops are stressed, discolored, or not growing well. It can even help identify where pests or diseases might be starting. By spotting these problems early, farmers can address them quickly and effectively, often using fewer chemicals. The use of GPS farming is another example of how technology is making farming more precise. GPS, or Global Positioning System, allows machines like tractors to know exactly where they are on the farm. This means a tractor can drive in perfectly straight lines, cover the entire field without missing spots or overlapping, and apply seeds or fertilizers with incredible accuracy. This precision helps save fuel, reduces soil compaction, and ensures that every part of the field is treated consistently and correctly. All these different technologies, from sensors and drones to AI and robots, fall under a big umbrella term, agritech. Agritech is simply short for agricultural technology. It refers to all the new tools, systems, and methods that use science and technology to improve farming. It's a very broad term that covers everything from the smallest sensor to the largest automated combine harvester. Learning about agritech helps us understand how farming is becoming more advanced, more efficient, and more mindful of our planet. So, how does all this technology help us with the environmental challenges we face? By being more precise, we reduce waste. When we use less water, we conserve a vital resource. When we use less fertilizer and fewer pesticides, we protect our soil and our waterways from pollution. When we can monitor crops closely with drones and sensors, we can often catch problems early and use targeted treatments. Rather than broad applications of chemicals that can harm beneficial insects or wildlife, Consider a farmer named Maria. She has a field of corn. In the past, she would have watered the entire field every few days, regardless of whether every part of that field was dry. She would also have spread fertilizer evenly across the whole field. Now, Maria uses sensors in her soil. These sensors tell her computer system exactly how much moisture is in different parts of the field. If one section is still wet from a recent rain, the smart watering system won't water it. Only the dry areas get water. Similarly, her fertilizer spreader can adjust how much fertilizer it releases based on the soil's needs in each specific spot. This means Maria is using less water and less fertilizer. It's also saving her money, and it's much better for the environment because less water is wasted, and less fertilizer can wash away into nearby streams. Another example could be a farmer named David, who grows strawberries. He used to spend a lot of time walking through his fields, looking for pests. Sometimes, he would miss them until they had already caused a lot of damage. Now, David uses a drone that flies over his strawberry plants every week. The drone takes special pictures that can show him if there are any signs of pests, even tiny ones that are hard to see. If the drone spots a problem in one small area, David can go directly to that spot and use a targeted spray instead of spraying his entire field. This means he uses much less pesticide, which is safer for the environment and for the people who eat his strawberries. These technologies are not just making farming easier, they are making it more responsible. They help us understand our land and our crops in ways we never could before. This deeper understanding allows us to farm in a way that is not only productive, but also protective of the earth. The economic and social impacts are also important to consider. For farmers to adopt these new technologies, they often need to invest money. This can be a challenge, especially for smaller farms. However, in the long run, these technologies can save farmers money by reducing their use of resources like water, fertilizer, and fuel. They can also help farmers produce higher quality crops, which can lead to better prices. Learning the vocabulary related to these technologies is crucial for understanding how farming is changing. Words like farming with great care, sensors, analyzing information, making machines do work, robots, Internet of Things, AI, guessing what might happen, applying different amounts, smart watering, drones for watching crops, and GPS farming are all part of this new language of farming. They help us talk about and understand the amazing ways technology is helping farmers grow food more efficiently and more sustainably. As we've seen, technology is a powerful force in modern farming, enabling us to be more precise and efficient. But these advancements are often built upon a deep understanding of the natural world. In the next section, we'll explore the scientific principles that underpin these innovations and how they help us care for the earth. Conclusion: you have come to the end of our trip through the world of new farming. We have learned a new language. This language is about how we grow food today. We learned words for the smart science that helps plants grow strong. We learned words for the amazing machines that make farms work better. We learned words for the careful ways we take care of our earth. The most important thing was building your new farming words. Knowing these words helps you understand new ideas. Think about the science we saw. Words like genetics help us learn about plants deep inside. This makes plants healthier and stronger. The soil's tiny life shows us the hidden world in the dirt. It helps plants grow well. Then there are the amazing machines. Flying robots drones are like eyes in the sky. They watch the plants very closely. Smart computer helpers AI sensors are like assistants for farmers. They give farmers quick information to make good choices. And it's all done with a promise to care for the earth. Words like healing farming and saving carbon are not just fancy words. They mean we are farming in a way that helps our planet, not just takes from it. Your new farming words connect these ideas. You can see how a science idea can use new machines to help the earth. Why is this so important? We need to feed more people in the world. We also need to protect our planet. New farming methods use science and machines to help us do this. With your new words, you can understand what's happening. You can understand the news, talk at the farmer's market, or discuss food with friends. You can understand ideas like getting food from good places or farming with exact care. This helps you make smart choices about the food you buy. You can understand labels and how food is grown. You might even want to work in farming yourself. Learning these words in English helps you understand science and new ideas from all over the world. Think of this book like planting a seed. What you learned can now grow. Farming is always changing with new discoveries. Keep reading and watching things about farming. You will understand much more now. Visit a farm if you can. See the new farming words in action. Tell others what you learned. Explaining words like nature farming or smart watering helps you remember them. It also helps others learn. Your new farming words are a strong tool. They will help you as you keep learning about farming. As you go on, remember that every word you learned is a step to understanding how we eat and care for our planet. New farming uses science and machines. It's not just about growing food. It's about creating a better, healthier future for everyone. You now have the words to understand and value the great work being done. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and support the new ideas in farming. Thank you for joining us.